So what the rich have and what the poor do not have. But the people who are here on the roadside, for them, whatever money the rich people give and then buy items from them, that is what is going to support them. Polished traffic here is used to show the rich people there. In the same line, if the same word is repeated, then it is repetition. If it is in different lines, then it has to be anaphora. Hello everyone. A warm welcome to all the young minds of Class 12 Cbse. I am Dr. Shalini, your English teacher at Prep School. Today we are here to discuss one of the poems, that is a roadside stand written by Robert Frost. So let us begin our session today. Before we begin, we need to understand what is there in today's module. What we have here is that we'll understand about the poet first, then we'll understand the summary of the poem stanza by stanza along with the literary devices that are there. We'll also understand the rhyme scheme, theme, and the end we'll go to the new words and phrases that are used in this poem. Okay, so let us begin to understand about Robert Frost. So he is Robert Lee Frost, the complete name of Robert Frost here. Let us understand little about him. So here he is an American poet and a novelist. So one of his famous poems was The Road Not Taken. So that is supposed to be one of the most famous poems of Robert Frost. You also might have read it, isn't it? He is famous for his realistic depiction of life. So whatever he presents in his poems is actually like a pictorial representation. It is more or less like a photograph in front of you. It's like a portrait painting in front of person who is reading it. Okay, so that is the way he depicts his pictures in the poem. Okay, so his first book was actually published when he was 40 years old. Okay, though he came to literary field little late, but he was very famous poet. He won 4 Pulitzer Prizes. So Pulitzer is actually now very trending, isn't it? So you can notice that even in the newspapers and all, there are a lot of people who are getting Pulitzer Prizes for their photography, for their literary activities, and also this is actually one of the most prestigious awards that is being given. Okay, so he has won 4 Pulitzer Prizes for his works there. Okay, the American magazines actually constantly rejected his works because they were not able to comprehend the picturization that was given by him in his poems and his writings. Okay, so they constantly rejected. But what did he do? He found an alternative for that. He went to England and articles and his works published. Okay, so there he found the professional success. As I told before, The Road Not Taken is one of the most famous works of Robert Frost. Okay, so let us begin to understand about the poem now. So to begin with, we'll start with the theme. What is the theme of this poem? So this poem, that is A Roadside Stand, it is a criticism of Robert Frost. Okay, towards what? What does he criticize in this poem? He actually criticizes the inequality of the society. That is, this society is unequal where there is a large division. Okay, you can see that large gap between the rich and the poor. Okay, so what the rich have and what the poor do not have, what the poor are longing for, that is what he talks about in this poem, The Roadside Stand. Okay, so he presents it very well here. Okay, unequal distribution of wealth is what he is talking about in this poem. Okay, so the poem actually depicts with clarity. Okay, so it very clearly shows the plight of the poor and complex dynamics of their existence. Okay, what do they need to exist? How do they exist? That too with difficulty. What are the difficulties faced by the poor people? That is what this poem shows. Okay, so it also focuses on the unfortunate fact that the unequal progress. Okay, so unequal progress and development between the cities and villages. So the development wherein cities are far ahead compared to the villages. Okay, so he is talking about his environment there where he is staying. Okay, he talks about the unequal development of these cities and villages also, and this has led to distress and unhappiness of the rural people. So this has made poor people very sad. Okay, they have been facing lot of hardships. Okay, so this is what he talks about in his poem. So this is the basic theme of this poem, The Roadside Stand. Okay, so next we will understand the rhyme scheme of this poem. When we go to the summary, I'll explain to you a little in detail. So you can just keep it in mind that the rhyme scheme of this poem is AB, AB. Okay, so this is how the rhyme scheme of the poem is marked. Okay, so I'll tell you how it is. That is, when we go to the first stanza, I can explain this rhyme scheme to you. Okay, so to begin with, we'll start with the first stanza. So what is there in this first stanza? The little old house was out with a little new shed in front at the edge of the road where the traffic sped. A roadside stand that too pathetically pled, it would not be fair to say for a dole of a bread. But for some of the money, the cash whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint. Okay, so here you can see what is the rhyme scheme of this poem. You can just see these two are rhyming with each other. So you can mark the rhyme scheme as A. Okay, so this is B. Okay, this doesn't rhyme, so this goes to C and D. Okay, so this is the rhyme scheme of the poem. Okay, so what does the poet talk about? He talks about the shed, the new shed. Okay, that is there out of the old house. Okay, so there is a house and nearby to that there is a small shed. How is that shed? That is actually like a shop that sells something. Okay, so that is a place where somebody sells something. So he is talking about some shop that is set up by poor people who live on the roadside. Okay, so the poet is talking about that. And here you can see in front at the edge of the road where the traffic sped. That means it is at the edge of the road wherein the traffic is very nearly moving. Okay, so it is on the roadside. At the same time, their traffic is too much. Okay, so there is traffic, and how does it stand? Pathetically pled means it pleads. Okay, pled is the past tense of plead. Okay, so it pleads means that shop, that shed which was standing there is actually pleading for the people who are moving there to come and buy something from the shed. Okay, but for some of the money, the cash whose flow support. But for these, they actually, the rich people who are moving, actually, they have lot of money. But the people who are here on the roadside, for them, whatever money the rich people give and then buy items from them, that is what is going to support them. Okay, so this is the scenario that the poet actually tries to show us. Okay, so now we move on to the literary devices that are there in this stanza. First thing is personification. Okay, so there are few uncommon literary devices that are found in this poem. Okay, that's why this uncommon literary devices only make this poem wonderful actually. Okay, so here we have personification first. So what does the poet use here? The poet personalizes something here. What is it? The poet has personified the stand by using the word plead for it. Means usually humans plead, right? But here the shed itself is pleading. The stand itself is pleading. That means he is personifying. He is bringing life to it. Okay, so that is what is happening here. So it is personification. You can see over there. So there are two places wherein you can see assonance. Okay, so the prominent sound of this vowel O is found. Okay, then the other one is vowel I. Okay, so this way there are two places wherein the vowel sounds are repeated, which is called as assonance. Okay, then thirdly we have this alliteration. Alliteration, you already know, the repetition of same sound in the beginning of the word. Okay, so here you can see pathetically pled, per sound is repeated. Okay, so this is alliteration that we are seeing in this stanza. Okay, to move on, let us go to the second stanza. Okay, the polished traffic passed with a mind ahead, or if ever aside a moment, then out of sorts, at having the landscape marred with the artless paint, of signs that with N turned wrong and S turned wrong, offered for sale wild berries in wooden quads, or crook-necked golden squash with silver warts, or beauty rest in a beautiful mountain scene. So here, the poet is talking about what and all is sold there in that shed. Okay, so what is the scenario here? So here you can see the polished traffic. So polished traffic here is used to show the rich people there. Okay, so traffic, it will be very common. Polished traffic, poet is talking about the rich people who are passing by that road. Okay, so what do? They do not stop at all, or if ever aside a moment, then out of sorts, at having landscape marred with the artless paint. So there are lot of paintings that are sold there. There are so many things that are sold over there, like golden squash with silver warts, or maybe some mountains. So all these things they can experience. Okay, suppose the people who are moving there, they stop and buy something, they can live a moment in present time. Okay, that means they can look around and have a wonderful scene there. Okay, but they are not ready to stop at all. Not even one moment they can spare here. Okay, that is what the poet is talking over here. Okay, so we'll now move on to the literary devices. So here you can see one extra, that is differently used literary device, that is transferred epithet. So what is this transferred epithet? So here the poet uses this polished traffic in order to show the rich city dwellers. Okay, so this is more or less like metaphor or simile. Okay, but this is little different. Okay, so polished, it is used like an adjective. Okay, so polished traffic, for simile and metaphor you use it for comparison. Here also there is a comparison, but here it is used like an adjective. Okay, so that is transferred epithet, wherein polished word is used in order to show the rich people there. Okay, next we have repetition, that you already know, repetition of words. Okay, so what is it? Wrong word is repeated in the same line. Okay, in the same line, if the same word is repeated, then it is repetition. If it is in different lines, then it has to be anaphora. Okay, so here it is repetition. Okay, the word wrong has been repeated. Next we have anaphora again. So here it is the repetition of words in different lines. Okay, so here only you can make out the difference between repetition and anaphora. Okay, so here the word or is repeated. Okay, so here the word or is repeated, or crook-necked, or maybe it is or beauty rest in a beautiful mountain. So here it is anaphora. Okay, so you know the difference between repetition and anaphora here. So these are the literary devices that are there in this second stanza. Now let us move on to the next one. You have the money, but if you want to be mean, why keep your money and go along? The hurt to the scenery wouldn't be my complaint. So much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid. Here, far from the city, we make our roadside stand and ask for some city money to feel in hand, to try if it will not make our being expand and give us the life of the moving pictures, promise that the party in power is said to be keeping from us. So here the poet is indirectly talking about the government. Okay, so there are many facilities that are promised by the government, but it is not provided for the rural people. So that is what the poet is meaning here. Okay, maybe people want some city money over there. Okay, that means they want money from rich people in order to have a higher level life. Okay, so they want to raise their lifestyle, but they are not able to do it only because they are very poor. They set up a stand at the roadside and they are asking for money. That too, they are not begging. They are just selling some things and they want money in return. Okay, that also they are not able to get. Whereas this government which has promised, you can see over here the party in power. That means he is talking about the government. Okay, so the government which had promised some facilities there to the rural people, that is also not provided by the government. So it's a complaint, it's a criticism against the government that the poet is doing over here. Okay, so let us move on to the literary devices. One is repetition, that is the word money and city, they both are actually repeated. How it is? City money again here. So here again it is repeated. So we can see that there is repetition. Okay, so then we have assonance. Assonance, here you have the repetition of the word I, that is vowel I, that is being repeated. Okay, so this is another literary device that is used over here. Okay, so next comes another stanza here. It is in the news that all these pitiful kin are to be bought out and mercifully gathered in to live in villages next to the theatre and the store, where they won't have to think for themselves anymore, while greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey, swarm over their lives enforcing benefits that are calculated to suit them out of their wits, and by teaching them how to sleep, they sleep all day, destroy their sleeping at night the ancient way. So here the poet actually has given a profound meaning how they lead lives in villages. Okay, so here the government has promised them some facilities and there is a relocation for these village people. Okay, so what do they do? Suppose they are shifted to a new place. So what happens there? With lot of difficulty, they try to settle there. Okay, with lot of difficulty, they try to adapt themselves to the situation over there. Okay, so here you can see what happens there, where they won't have to think for themselves anymore, means they will not be able to think about themselves. They'll also become too greedy. Okay, so even these village people, when they go to city, when they relocate, they also will become very greedy. Now they would have slept very peacefully when they were at rural places, but now it is very difficult for them to sleep. They will have sleepless nights also when they come to this city, when they relocate to this city side. Okay, so that is what the poet is trying to tell over here. Okay, actually this is like some life that is very much calculated. Okay, so you have to calculate for everything. If at all you have to lead a proper life, okay, little peaceful life if you want to lead, you have to calculate a lot. Okay, so this way the poet says it will be actually very difficult for the rural people to come and adjust in this city life. Okay, so this is the meaning of this stanza here. Let us see the literary devices here. The first one is alliteration. Okay, alliteration, repetition of letter. So I have given 3 examples here. Greedy, good again, then it is beneficial, beast, then it is be brought. So b sound is repeated, and in the first one it is g sound that is repeated. Okay, so that is alliteration. Then we also have oxymoron. Here you need to concentrate. So here you can see 2 words with opposite meanings. Okay, you can say juxtaposition, that is ironical. So greedy, good doers. Whoever is greedy cannot be doing something which is good. Okay, so greedy, good doers means the opposite meaning words are put together, and that such usage is called as oxymoron. Okay, so then we have repetition also. The word sleep is actually repeated 2 times. Okay, so here you can see this poem is an example for many literary devices. We have found many literary devices in this poem, isn't it? So we have another stanza here. Sometimes I feel myself I can hardly bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain, the sadness that lurks near the open window there, that waits all day in almost open prayer for the squeal of brakes, the sound of a stopping car. Of all the 1,000 selfish cars that pass, just one to inquire what a farmer's prices are, and one did stop but only to plough up grass, in using the yard to back and turn around, and another to ask the way to where it was bound, and another to ask could they sell it a gallon of gas. They couldn't, they had none, didn't it see. So here the poet is talking about, suppose anyone stopped there also. The roadside stands, did anyone stop also? So what did they ask for? They would have asked for whatever is not being sold in that roadside stand. Okay, so that is what the poet is talking about over here. So here you can see what is there in the minds of people there. The thought of much childish longing in vain, like children will be longing to meet their parents or something like that. So that type of feeling is there in people who are waiting to sell items here. The sadness that lurks near the open window there means here the people are actually waiting near the window in order to see if somebody comes and stops there to buy something. Okay, so here people are waiting. That waits all day in almost open prayer. So people will be praying to sell something, hope somebody comes and buys something from me. So that is what the prayer of people are. Okay, so then for the squeal of brakes means they are waiting to listen to the sounds of brakes and sound of a stopping car. So the car has to stop. For that sound also people are actually waiting. People means here the people who are selling something at the roadside stand. Okay, so of all the 1,000 selfish cars that pass, so many of them did not stop at all. They are all selfish. Okay, they are not ready to stop at all. Just one to inquire, one stopped for what? To inquire what a farmer's prices are. So nobody had stopped there to inquire what the farmers rates are. Okay, what are they selling? What is the cost of that? For nothing, they did not stop at all. Okay, but one did stop. One of the cars stopped, but only to plough up grass, means just to stop, turn and take a way back. Okay, so for that it stopped. And also another asked the way where it was bound. Another car stopped in order to ask the where it would lead to. Okay, so for those reasons they stopped, but not to buy anything. Okay, so they have asked something, that is a gallon of gas. Okay, whatever they have, that one they are not asking. Whatever they don't have, whatever the people are not selling, only that are being asked by the cars over there. So that is what the poet talks about in this stanza. Okay, so coming to the literary device, again there is the usage of another transferred epithet. So the poet has used this selfish cars, okay, selfish, in order to talk about city dwellers. Okay, he wanted to call those city dwellers as selfish. Okay, so this is not a comparison, but here it is used as an adjective only. Okay, so here selfish is used for cars, but selfish actually means something else. Okay, so this is transferred epithet. Then we have personification. Again here it is personified. The sadness that is there is actually personified, that lurks near the open window there. So that sadness doesn't have any life, but it is actually personified. Sadness is hiding near the door is what the poet is talking about. Okay, then we have this repetition. The word car is actually repeated in the same line twice. Then alliteration, the repetition of a letter, as you know in the beginning. So the letter G is repeated in gallon of gas. These are the literary devices that are used in this stanza. Okay. So, no in country money, the country scale of gain, the requisite lift of spirit has never been found, or so the voice of the country seems to complain. I can't help owning the great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain. So here the poet is thinking about putting those people out of their pain. And then next day as I come back into the scene, I wonder how I should like you to come to me and offer to put me gently out of my pain. So here the poet is talking about how these people can be brought out of their pain. So here the poet actually regrets that he is not able to bring these people out of their pain. Okay, he had so much of wealth that like he can support all these people. He would immediately bring them out of the pain. Okay, so there is lot of wealth, there is enough funds to provide facilities to these people, but the government is not ready to do it. Why is it so? Why are the people not being supported is what the poet worries about. Okay, so here you can see in few of the lines here, you can see a poet is actually feeling very bad about those people. Okay, so I can't help owning a great relief, means great relief he is talking about the wealth wants to have in order to support those people. Okay, so great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain. At once he wants to bring them, all of them, out of the pain that they are in. Okay, so he is not able to bring them out of that. Next day when I come back into the same, means when he is all okay. Okay, he is not insane, he is very much present in his mind. I wonder how I should like you to come to me. That is, if at all when I come back to my presence of mind, then you will again come back to me and ask me to keep me out of this pain, is what the poet is talking about it. Okay, so we have personification here. What has he personified? What has the poet personified here? So the voice of the country. Okay, so here the country actually doesn't have a voice, but he gives a voice to the country. I mean to say, he's talking about the voice of this poor people. Okay, the whole group of poor people, they have to raise their voice. So that is what the meaning of this voice is. Okay, so country doesn't have a voice, but he gives a voice personifying that. Then we have repetition. The word country and pain are actually repeated over here. Okay, so country is repeated, then also the word pain. Okay, so country is repeated in different lines, not an alternate lines, repeated in different lines. Okay, so you can take it as repetition. Okay, so this was the summary of this poem. We'll now move on to the new words and phrases. Okay, so there are very few new words over here. This also actually need not have to be treated as new words, because this is written in a very simple language which you will be able to understand if you read it only once. Okay, so here plead, as I told you, the past tense of plead. Okay, plead is to beg or to pray. So similarly, plead is the past tense of it. Okay, so then dole, that is bread given as alms. Alms means give some beggar something, no? So that is called as alms. So dole of bread or something that is given as alms. Fine. So marred, to spoil. Okay, the landscape or something we saw in the first stanza. Okay, so this is also nothing but spoiling something. Okay, marring something, to spoil, to blur something. Okay, then we have this crook-necked golden squash. It's a kind of vegetable. Okay, so you have this cucumber and all. No, it's a fat cucumber kind of a vegetable that is being sold over there. Okay, so farmers grow that and they sell it there on the roadside. So this is the same vegetable. Okay, yes, this was the summary of the poem what we saw now. Okay, that is the roadside stand. So please go back and read the poem completely. It is a very easy poem. You read it once, you understand it very well. Okay, so please come prepared to the class. Please note down if you have any doubts with the pencil. So you can come prepared for the class with the book and the pencil so that your doubts can be clarified then and there only. So see you soon with another more interesting topic. Okay, so take care. Keep learning, children. Bye-bye.